Good evening and many thanks for joining us tonight in this very special segment and edition of This is the State of the Nation. And of course, 14 years without a voice. Why has Kenya taken so long to give young people an elected National Youth Council? Now pause for a moment. Let me give you context of what is happening here. Now, Kenya has gone about 14 years without National Youth Council elections because successful attempts to renew the council were stalled by changes in regulations, political and legislative proposals, COVID-19 disruption and administrative delays, and more recently failure to complete the logistical requirements on time. But this is more than just an election. It's about giving millions of young Kenyans a legitimate voice, a seat at the table, and a chance to influence policies that shape their future. After years of waiting, the question is no longer whether youth need representation, but they have had to wait this long for it to happen. And that is the discussion that we'll be having later on KUTV State of the Nation. We have a very comprehensive coverage in store for you and a discussion that matters at this very critical juncture. And of course, I'll be joined by a youthful aspirant who is eyeing for the position of chairman in the upcoming National Youth Council election that is due for October this same year. And of course, it's a quite packed discussion, and we'll be sure to bring you up to speed with what you need to know as far as the National Youth Council election is concerned. So for the next 1 hour or so, this is what to expect.
This is the Primetime News with Auma Evans.
Alright, so tonight I'm not alone. Joy Mtava is on our sign language interpretation department, and remember you can follow this broadcast on all of our social media platforms. We are coming to you live on YouTube at KUTV News Live. You can tweet us on X at KUTV_Kenya at Auma Evans. The hashtag to use KUTV State of the Nation. So tonight we begin with politics. President William Ruto has reignited the political battle ahead of the 2027 general election, turning his Narok tour into a direct response to his critics. Ruto challenged his opponents to move beyond must-go slogans and present Kenyans with alternative policies as political campaign between the ruling regime and the opposition camps gathers momentum. Brian Auma is on that beat tonight.
The political temperature rose in Narok County as President William Ruto took aim at those campaigning against his government, making it clear that the two-term and one-term battle is far from over. Ruto challenged his critics to stop relying on political chants, insult and calls for his government to leave office, instead demanding that they explain what they will do differently if given the power.
Kila kiongozi akuje na kazi yake, ama namna gani? Na nyinyi ndio mtasahihisha. Yule hajafanya chochote, yule wa fitina, yule wa kiburi, yule wa madharau, yule wa chuki, yule wa ukabila, huyo aende nyumbani mbio mbio.
The president also defended his government's flagship programs, including affordable housing and SHA, accusing some of his critics of being mobilized, hired or paid to oppose government initiatives.
Unajua hawa shida yao ni kwa sababu wametumwa na sponsor. Wameambiwa endeni pinga affordable housing, enda pinga mambo ya SHA, enda pinga mambo ya barabara. Na huyo sponsor wao hajawaeleza wanapinga kwa sababu gani. Mimi nataka niwaambie nyinyi majamaa, wacheni kujiaibisha. Kama mnataka kushindana na mimi, tafuteni sera, tafuteni mpango, kuweni na maono, kuweni na agenda.
The remarks has given fresh life to a political confrontation that has been building ahead of 2027, with Ruto seeking to defend his record while his opponents push the must-go message. But the president is now turning that challenge back on his critics. Beyond wanting him out, what is their alternative?
Mnajua hapa Narok tulikuwa tunashindana na Raila Odinga, si namna hiyo? Kura nusu alikuwa anachukua, kura nusu nilikuwa nachukua, si namna hiyo? Lakini hii 2027 nyinyi mko na habari ya kwamba tumeunganisha ODM na UDA na sasa ni broad based. Sasa kura ya Narok itakuwaje? Itakuwa 100%? Hebu nione wala wanasema itakuwa 100%. Hii kura ya Narok tunaunganisha iwe moja. Tutembee pamoja. Niunganishe viongozi wote.
And as the two opposing sides begin to define the 2027 contest, Ruto appears ready to make his record, his programs and his political coalition the centerpiece of his defense. Brian Auma, KUTV.
Meisisi olaitoriani. Bwana Yesu asifiwe.
Right, and as political temperature continue to rise ahead of 2027 general election, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission (NCSC) has issued a stern warning to political leaders against hate speech, misinformation, and use of organized goons. Speaking at a youth forum in Mombasa, the NCIC officials vowed a zero-tolerance approach to rhetorics that threatens national peace.
That's not the agency. I think it's high time we must look up to the people.
Coast Region, NCIC Deputy Director of Legal Services Chalo Mwengi revealed that a multi-agency team has intensified crackdowns on political incitement over the past 3 months. The commission warned it will strictly monitor political activities to prevent electoral violence.
It is our clarion call to members of the political class to desist from engaging in hate speech, misinformation and incitement to violence generally. We are very keen to ensure that we are going to have peaceful elections. We are not going to have condone hate speech. So this should go as a warning to members of the political class that it is not business as usual.
Civil society organizations also voiced strong concerns over the enforcement of security laws. Huria Executive Director Yusuf Lule Mwatsefu faulted security agencies for failing to decisively tackle political goonism. Meanwhile, youth leaders present declared they would no longer allow politicians to manipulate them for violence.
Extremely unfortunate that the National Police Service and ourselves as a country has allowed ourselves to have goons thrive in this country. And I know the culture of goonism did not only begin during this election period, but it's something that has been, building up over the last couple of years. It have the Organized Crime Act that allows us. We have very many laws. So the problem of this country is not laws, it is enforcement. So we are calling on all the government stakeholders and more importantly the DCI and National Police Service to be able to enforce the laws appropriately.
On his part, former University Nairobi Students Association Chair Mohamed Jailani urged Gen Z to reject recruitment into political gangs for short-term gain.
Kama kijana, kama Gen Z, kitu kimoja. Ningependa kusema kwamba sisi Gen Z, sisi youths, tuwakataa kabisa swala la goons. Na juu yake tunasema kwamba, na tuna encourage vijana wenzetu kwamba tukatae kutumika vibaya na wanasiasa.
As political temperature continues to hit fever, Peach stakeholders are now calling on young voters to resist political manipulation and prioritize issue-based politics as the country gears towards general election.
Right now, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has criticized President William Ruto of failing to fulfill his promises to Kipsigis community Speaking at the Democracy for Citizens Party headquarters here in Nairobi, Gachagua accused the president of failing to deliver on pledges to improve roads and construction of schools in Emurua Dikir constituency, accusing the head of state of using Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale to create division between the Somali and the Kikuyu communities.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has mounted criticism over the Kenya Kwanza government, accusing President William Ruto of failing to fulfill his promises that he made to the Kipsigis community during the burial of the late Emurua Dikir Member of Parliament Johana Ngeno.
Sasa wewe Kasongo ukienda Emurua Dikir, because nilikuwa hapo, hakuna barabara, hakuna maji, hakuna stima, hawa Kipsigis wanalia hata kuliko watu wengine Kenya. Wewe unaenda hapo kesho, wacha nikuulize swali Kasongo. Ulikuwa hapo tarehe 6 mwezi wa 3 mazishi ya marehemu Johana Ngeno. Ukaahidi watu ya Emurua Dikir ya kwamba watu 12,000 wale waliondolewa Mau Forest utaweka pesa kwa budget uwapatie. Ukienda hapo kesho vile haiko kwa budget utawadanganya namna gani?
Gachagua further accused President William Ruto of using Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale to bring disparity between the Kikuyu and Somali communities, while calling for the unity between the two communities ahead of the 2027 general polls.
Kwa hivyo mimi niseme ya kwamba Aden Duale Ruto kuleta uhasama kati ya Wakikuyu na Wasomali. Wewe hakuna biashara na watu yako mnafanya Nairobi. Biashara nafanywa na hii Wakikuyu na Wasomali. Ukiwakosanisha, tukikupeleka nyumbani mwaka ujao, utawacha hii Wasomali kwa shida na hatuwezi kubali.
Gachagua also claimed that his political influence has left President William Ruto and his deputy Kithure Kindiki in a state of unease, alleging that the two leaders have been outflanked politically and stripped of their dominance even in their own backyard. He described the situation as a political conferment between the two leaders and his camp.
Unajua huyu Kasongo, nimesukuma yeye analia kama panya imeshikwa na mtego. I am actually now setting the agenda for William Ruto. Juzi nilikuwa Narok pahali Narok East, amekimbia hapo leo. Nikaenda Emurua Dikir, kesho anaenda huko. Hii mtu nimemrudisha nyumbani. I have confined William Ruto back home. He is struggling at home.
With former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua continuing to apply political pressure on President William Ruto, the president is expected to tour Emurua Dikir tomorrow. The visit comes amid growing political contestation in the area, with Gachagua stepping up his criticism of the Kenya Kwanza administration and seeking to strengthen the DCP party's support ahead of the 2027 general polls. Vincent Karoli, KUTV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Vincent Karoli, for that comprehensive reporting. Now, Kamkunji Member of Parliament Yusuf Hassan has ditched the Jubilee Party to join Democracy for Citizens Party, marking a fresh political development ahead of the 2027 general election. The move adds the veteran politician to Gachagua's growing political outfit as the former deputy president continues efforts to build support for DCP and strengthen his position within the opposition. Listen in.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua welcomed recent defectors from the Jubilee Party during a high-profile reception at the Democracy for the Citizens Party DCP headquarters in Lavington.
Na niambie watu ya North and South Rift, sasa mumejua dawa ni gani? Ni kuingia DCP, kukaribisha Rigiji, alafu Kasongo atafanyia nyinyi maendeleo.
In a bid to solidify and popularize his party, Gachagua urged residents of Bomet and Kericho to join his party, exuding confidence that DCP party will sweep Nairobi in the next general elections.
I want to announce today the DCP takeover of the Nairobi city. DCP ndio itavuma Nairobi. And the competition in Nairobi is between DCP wiper and leader. Luckily, we are on the same side, all of us. Kwa hivyo tutakubaliana hapa na pale. Mambo ya Ruto na ODM ile ya Oburu Nairobi kwisha. Katika MCS, DCP is sure out of 85 wards, we shall get 62 wards. Na hizi zingine iko juu tutapigana.
During the event, Kamukunji Member of Parliament Yusuf Hassan enthusiastically announced his decision to join the party, emphasizing its potential to foster development for all Kenyans nationwide. He commended former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, highlighting his patriotic leadership and dedication to working for the citizens' betterment.
Pili, nataka kusema kwamba mimi nimefurahi kujiunga na chama cha DCP kwa sababu DCP ni chama ambacho inataka uzuri, na mimi nataka kusema kwamba kiongozi wa chama hiki ni kiongozi mzalendo. Rigathi Gachagua ni kiongozi mzalendo, ni kiongozi anayopenda watu wake na nchi yake, na uzalendo ndio inaleta hiyo jambo la kuwafanyia kazi wananchi. Kwa hivyo anawaambia tuko hapa ndani, safari yetu imeanza na tutakwenda mpaka tutakaposhinda katika uchaguzi na kuunda serikali mpya.
As the political landscape continues to shift ahead of the 2027 general election, this latest wave of defections to the DCP party signals a major realignment of power, leaving the Jubilee Party to regroup, while Rigathi Gachagua's new political vehicle gains significant momentum.
All right, now let's switch gears to matters education. Now, Kenyatta University is once again attracting a new generation of aspiring educators, with the parents expressing confidence in the institution's long-standing reputation as a leading hub for teacher training. According to parents, the choice of KU for education courses is being driven by its academic reputation and perceived quality of training. Edna Nerea reports from KU's main campus.
Kenyatta University continues to stand out among institutions offering education courses, with parents citing its established legacy in teacher training as a key factor. Beyond securing academic qualifications, parents say they want their children at Kenyatta University to acquire practical skills, professional values, and expertise that will enable them to make a meaningful impact in classrooms.
KU, it produces very, very good teachers. I've seen them outside. And as far as education is concerned, the field of education, you may never lack a job. There are so many job opportunities because there are so many government schools, and you also have so many private schools there. So it is very hard for a student to graduate and stay at home. Immediately you graduate, you get a job, a private school somewhere, and also public schools.
Newton Mwatoa, a parent and a teacher, says Kenyatta University's enduring influence in teacher training continues to shape parents' choices, with many trusting its experience to prepare students for the evolving demands of the education sector.
Practicing teachers we receive from this institution are doing wonderfully when they come to the field. They really do wonders because they are ready to listen to us, the teachers on the field, and they are ready to learn. So they grasp the skills very fast and they showcase their talents from this institution. Let me tell you, even the music festival which ended last time, most of the things they were doing were taught by the learners, the teacher learners who came from this institution.
On the other hand, the parents also urge the new students to remain focused on their academic goals, reminding them that university marks the beginning of their professional journey. They also encourage learners to avoid distractions, embrace discipline, and make the most of their time at Kenyatta University.
So unajua ni wakati wao wenyewe kujikaza, kuongeza bidii, kwa sababu vile alifaulu kuitwa hapa ina maana anaweza. So na ataweza ikiwa atafocus kwa chenye ilimuleta hapa, sababu huwezi niambia leo uliitwa kisha ukafail. Ulifail aje?
Nimefurahi sana na uendelea na kazi yenu vile nyinyi huko. Advice to children. Hapa ukikuja, umekuja peke yako. Umekuja na mama yako, baba yako, ama one of your relatives. Tafadhali, tuzileta hivu ile siku ya graduation, tupate kama jina ya kijana yangu haiko, sitafurahi. Na wakijana na wasichana, hawa wetu, waone vile wanatembea hapa ndani.
As the new cohort begins its journey at Kenyatta University, parents say the institution's legacy in education remains a major draw, urging students to stay focused and turn the opportunity into a foundation for their future careers. Edna Nerea, KUTV, Nairobi.
Now, from education to mother's health, now the Kenyan National Union of Nurses in Kisii, or rather Kisii branch, has vowed to continue with a strike which began on July 29th, 2026 until the Council of Governors addresses their grievances. The strike, which has lasted for nearly a month, has disrupted health services in Kisii, including emergency care, forcing patients to seek treatment in private hospitals. Yvonne Shirisha reports.
The Kenya National Union of Nurses NAN Kisii branch has vowed to continue its strike until their demands are met. Speaking in Kisii Town, NAN branch secretary Moses Rianga urged Governor Simba Arati to engage the Council of Governors and push for the full implementation of the 2017 collective bargaining agreement.
Our demands is a return to work formula 2017, which was signed and it has never been implemented. Another one is signing the CPA, which will incorporate the 2017 return to work formula. Another one is career progression, which has not been adopted by the Council of Governors. Another issue is UHC nurses who have not been given the PNB letters.
According to Rianga, health workers have been denied proper career progression, while universal health coverage workers are yet to be absorbed on permanent and pensionable terms. He further called for reinstatement of 46 nurses dismissed in 2021 during an earlier strike, terming their dismissal unlawful.
Another issue is about dismissed nurses. These guys were dismissed 2021. Still, they are demanding to be reinstated. Even their colleagues, they are demanding reinstatement of these nurses because they are suffering a lot. Addressed to the office of the chief officer who has written the show cause letters. I want to tell the chief officer Kisii County, kindly desist from this business of intimidating nurses. What you are earning is more than what nurses are earning.
Meanwhile, the health official accused the county health department of intimidating striking nurses through showcase letters, urging the workers to remain professional, even as they call for a swift action to resolve the dispute and allow nurses to resume to work.
These are more than 700 nurses who have joined us today to give a press and a statement, and to give their confidence to the union that all the nurses at Kisii County are on strike.
The Minister for Health, Kisii County, we talked with you. Kindly put your house in order and try to avoid mixing issues of politics with the issues of profession.
The strike continues to affect health services in Kisii County, with nurses calling for their issues to be solved so that they can return to work and serve patients. Yvonne Shirisha, KUTV.
All right, so that story by Yvonne Shirisha now takes us to a first break here on KUTV State of the Nation. Remember, when you come back, the discussion is all about the upcoming National Youth Council election. And of course, we have the privilege of having one of the aspirants who is eyeing the position of chairman. And of course, he is an economist and youth leader. He's already in the house, and of course, he'll be bringing us up to speed with what we need to know about the upcoming National Youth Council election and what it entails. 14 years without a voice. What happened, and why has it taken so long for the National Youth Council, rather the young people of this republic, to be given an opportunity, a representation, so that their voice can be heard in matters politics, governance, talk about representation in various aspects as far as the betterment of their lives is concerned. So that is the discussion that will be coming up later on this segment of the State of the Nation tonight. Very important discussion as we chart the way forward for the future of young people.
Those who campaign, they come, they campaign, they say, oh, we'll include people with disability. But what do they do?
Some stories begin with a question. Others begin with an opportunity, a door left open, and a voice that refuses to fade into silence.
Hatutabanduka hapa until the day pesa inahit account.
One question can awaken the mind. One conversation can restore a voice, and one opportunity can rewrite a future.
Ni jambo ambalo linatakikana lifanyike na serikali.
For conversations that shape the nation and rally the loudest, they are found where knowledge meets purpose, where equality is no longer an aspiration but a lived experience.
We need people who are adding value to councils of universities.
These realities remind us that inclusion is not a destination.
For every story we tell is more than a headline, it is a lesson. Join me, Oching Cynthia, and let's give our voices platform and challenge barriers to give way.
Naam, kila siku watu hutumia lugha ya Kiswahili katika kutagusana katika maisha yao ya kila siku. Si walimu, si wanafunzi, si wasanii, si wanabunge, wote kwa pamoja hutumia lugha hii tamu kamani ya Kiswahili. Jiunge nasi kwenye kipindi chako kipendacho cha Mawimbi ya Lugha kwenye runinga ambayo unaipenda sana, runinga ya KU. Tukikupa uhondo wa lugha ya Kiswahili, tukikudadavulia jinsi ambavyo Kiswahili kinaweza kutumika nyanjani na kote ulimwenguni. Jiunge nami na hodha wako Padironga, tukikupa mkupuo pamoja na kundi zima la wasanii na watu wengine wote ambao wanapenda lugha hii tamu kamani ya Kiswahili. Kila siku ya Jumapili saa 2, usikose.
Wasemao husema kinachodumu daima ni mabadiliko. Tulianza mosi na daima tunatamba.
Mizizi ya habari inazidi kukita mizizi. Abadan hatutikisiki.
Na bila shaka ukiona vielea vimeundwa kwa uketo na ufasaha.
Taarifa tunazichambua kwa uketo na ufasaha, tukihakikisha mtazamaji hupitwi na lolote kadri linapochipuka.
Bila shaka tupo ange kwenye meli ya mizizi ya habari,
ambapo ni nadra chombo kuenda mrama. KUTV, hapa ni zaidi ya habari.
Where style meets elegance and glamour takes center stage. From the runway to the red carpet, celebrating beauty, trend-setting designs, confidence and innovation in every story. This is your front row seat to the world of fashion. This is Fashion Diaries. Tune in every Monday from 8 p.m. with me, your host, Ashley Astachi, as we bring you the people, the passion, and the moments shaping the fashion industry. All this only on Fashion Diaries.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Every day we find new ways to thrive in an ever-evolving world.
I wouldn't call them challenges, but that's just how the industry is set.
On KUTV, Technovation show trust us to keep you informed on matters startups to look forward to.
Gaming globally is the largest entertainment media.
Kenyan businesses are speaking to finance from people who do not understand Kenyan business. And that has meant a lot of really good businesses have not been.
We have it all. Tune in every Monday 8:30 p.m. for this and more with me, your host Yvonne Kemuma.
Ardhi ni hazina na mkulima ndiye mlinzi wa hazina ya utajiri wake. Na kama bora huwa bora kwa kuboreshwa, basi kipindi cha Boresha Kilimo kwa ubora wake kiko kwa ajili yako. Hapa tunafumbua macho wakulima kwa kuangazia mbinu za kilimo za kisasa zinazoinua ubora na tija ya mazao. Na katika masoko tunachambua mbivu na mbichi moja baada ya jengine kwa ubora wake. Usikose kuungana nami kila siku ya Jumamosi saa 6:30 mchana nikikuletea simulizi na shajara kamili za wakulima. Pia kutokosa akiba ya neno ukiwa nami Akida Kasim. Kumbuka, ukipanda pantosha utavuna pangusha.
Ninakukaribisha rasmi kwenye Mitindo ya Kipwani, kipindi kinachokuza utamaduni wa Kipwani, nikikuletea mazungumzo ya moja kwa moja na wataalamu, vyakula vilivyopikwa na kukorombezwa, viungo mwake vya Kipwani, ngoma zetu za asilia za Kimijikenda, bila kusahau tarabu na chakacha. Yaani wanawake Uswahilini watakuwa wakinengua na kuzungusha viuno kama panga boy za trekta ndani ya Mitindo ya Kipwani KUTV, ukiletewa moja kwa moja kutoka Salama Bling Beach Resort kila Jumamosi saa 10 jioni na Jumapili saa 4 usiku, ukiwa nami mtamu wako zaidi ya asali. Mimi naitwa Waridi Tamu. Mpenzi mtazamaji, usipitwe na matamu.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Auma Evans.
Right, welcome back and thank you for keeping it KUTV State of the Nation. And of course, just like I promised you, We'll be having a very comprehensive discussion about the upcoming National Youth Council election, just to bring you up to speed with what you need to know as far as this very important process is concerned. Remember, the aim of this, the National Youth Council is to give the young people an opportunity in terms of representation in various aspects as far as the leadership of this, this great nation is concerned. And in various ways, this is just one of the affirmative action to make sure that we try to bring, or rather bridge, the equality aspect in terms of representation. And of course, a lot has happened. 14 years without a representation in terms of elective position. Remember, the last time election were held was in the year 2012. 14 years down the line, nothing whatsoever. So what happened? We want to explore. And of course, joining us tonight is our guest Brian Wambura, economist and youth leader, and is also vying for the chairmanship position in the upcoming election in the National Youth Council. Asante sana for making time.
Thank you, Evans. It's good to be here.
All right.
Yes.
So let's get straight to it. 14 years without a voice. Why has it taken so long?
Thank you. National Youth Council is the only legitimate voice for the young people in this nation, constitutionally inspired by Article 55 of the Constitution and the National Youth Council Act of 2009. And the reason why we've not had the elections, I can say, is lack of political goodwill. And this is something that it needs to be changed. In fact, we've had many attempts to amend this bill and have the government appoint officials for the National Youth Council. And that is the reason why this is a golden opportunity for all Kenyans to come up in large numbers, especially the young people, so that we bring in the change that is needed. And once we are in there, we can make sure that nothing like this ever happens. 14 years is a very long time. Yes.
All right. When you look at, the time frame itself, 14 years down the line, quite a long time, if you ask me. And this speaks about, it's raised a lot of volume in terms of where there were things that we really need to do to make sure that we are up to track. And it speaks clearly from where you sit. Let me get your sentiment on this matter. Well, after 3 years, according to now what is supposed to be done rightfully, election should be held. And of course, those in power serving should serve for a maximum of 6 years, if of course they'll get another chance to be re-elected. After that, then by law they cease to hold office. Well, 6 years down the line, you're talking about 14. So the drawn out nature of proceedings, what could be the reason why it has taken so long for this process to be infected?
Okay. I believe the issue of lack of political goodwill is quite strong, and the clashing political interests between various players has played a huge role for the 14 years of lack of elections. And to answer your question, how we can avoid such a situation again. First of all, according to the National Youth Council Act of 2009, the youth will be elected for 3 years, but they are eligible for reappointment for another period of 3 years. Okay, so maybe just to give you a backstory, is that in 2012-13 we had an election, and those youth served for 3 years. I believe they were reappointed by the regime then to 2019. Okay, and around middle of 2019, that is when their term expired. We're talking about that's around 6-7 years, right? So ideally in 2019 we should have had an election. Okay, but for many reasons, I don't speak for the government, but for many reasons we have not had that election. One of the reasons was COVID, of course. We can speak about many reasons, but ideally the law needs to be adhered to. That is not negotiable, you know. And going forward, now the new council coming in, by the grace of God, if I get the opportunity to serve as the chair, we need to amend this law in a way that either we invalidate the reappointment, but we need to enshrine in the law that it is not possible for any individual to serve for such a very long time, and there should be no time that there is such a vacuum, a lacuna in the law that we can have 14 years, you know, without elections. That is a very, very, very long time.
All right.
And
Okay, and of course we'll talk about what you'll do if, hypothetically speaking, if you'll get the chance. But the aim of the National Youth Council is to act as an official voice of young people, promote youth empowerment. Do you think it has lived up to its expectation? Of course, now we are talking about now the, by all means, until, because we haven't had a real election, so that means those who are elected still holds office until now another leadership will be elected in. But do you think it has served its purpose?
Honestly speaking, the National Youth Council, according to the law, it has 16 responsibilities, summarized as policy, advocacy, and research institution, including legislating, you know, including proposing amendments to the laws, including research and recommending proposals to the government, including bridging the funding gap, and regulation of the youth sector. If we rate it according to the 16 responsibilities that we have in the law, and generally speaking from common sense, as much as I appreciate the work that the council that was there before did, my good friend Arnold Maliba was part of that council, and many others, I clearly everyone can see that we have not achieved the issue, for example, of funding of youth enterprises. I don't know if you know, but according to the Vision 2030, by 2030 we should have achieved 2.5% of national budget going to youth and youth-related organization and other special interest groups. As it stands right now, for example, when we take the Nyota Fund plus the budget of Youth Enterprise Fund and the budget of National Youth Council and everything else that has been allocated to the youth, clearly it is in the region of, for example, the Nyota Fund, we're talking about 3.7 billion. We're talking about 6.5 billion as the budget for the State Department for Youth. Consolidated, this one is still around 20 billion. And if we go with, for example, the last year's budget, we're talking about 120 billion that should have gone to the young people, okay? But we are having around 20 billion only going to the young people. And that is one of the things that is quite doable, because we are only 4 years to 2030, right? And we have not achieved the 2.5%. Okay. That is concerning, you know. And from where I sit, I haven't seen any efforts to at least make sure that we are going to achieve this, or conversations. And that is one of the things that when we come in, we are going to fight and have that conversation with the president, with the treasury, and every other institution to make sure that we have enough funding, which has not happened. Okay? Right. And the rest of responsibilities, maybe regulation of the youth sector. We've seen YSOs being registered. We've seen community-based organizations being registered, which was not there before. And according to the outgoing council, if you listen to them, you see them saying that they have laid the foundation for the upcoming council. Okay. So maybe if we rate them according to that KRI, or rather KPI, we can say that we have not achieved the 16 responsibilities that the National Youth Council is supposed to achieve.
All right.
Yes.
So what is the biggest hurdle that has hindered the intended purpose?
I think the biggest hurdle as of now, it has been always the political goodwill.
Okay.
But after the 2023 June situation that we had in the nation, which also prompted, by the way, in 2007, the situation is what prompted this bill to be enacted. I believe that everyone right now has the goodwill, including the president, the opposition, and the international community, to have the youth on board right now. And therefore, I believe that this is a very convenient time for us to achieve all those things that I'm talking about.
All right.
So I believe the hurdle has been the political goodwill, but I believe that right now that is quite achievable.
Okay.
Yes.
So you are in the position of
the chairman
of the National
Youth
Council.
Yes.
What is it about you that makes you a good leader?
Thank you for that question. National Youth Council is the sole institution that has the responsibility legally, from the Constitution to the Act, that can stand up and actually speak up for the young people. And specifically about me, I believe that we've not had an individual with the right skills, a right approach, and the right network of individuals that could actually stand up and represent the young people. I didn't say this, but I have served in the youth sector for a long time. I've been an official representative of special interest groups at the UDA party at some point. I am a seasoned banker, and I've been an economist for a long time. And therefore, I have done my research, and out of my experience, everyone knows that we need something to be done in the area of youth employment, unemployment, employability of the young people. We need something done, as I said, in the area of funding of youth-owned enterprises. We need something done in the area of access to government procurement opportunities, in the area of digital economy, and most importantly also in the area of exploitation of the young peoples. So I have bills ready, I have a blueprint, and I have everything that is needed for us to take advantage of this sole institution that has the legal mandate to represent the young people in all corners of the nation, and specifically to negotiate with the government, with the international institutions, and to have the youth voice, and most importantly, youth empowerment done.
Okay.
Yes.
Many will argue that there is nothing new under the sun for those who are holding these positions. But of course, the agenda was always the same, to fight for the interest of young people, as it should be. Now, you have spoken about the hurdles that are there, the lack of political goodwill.
Yes.
So you are coming into an office that has a lot of challenges. So what's so new? And how do you plan now to navigate through these monkey waters of politics, the challenges, of course, that are ahead?
So I believe that challenges are always there, and especially before 2023 and before 2007, we've not had the political goodwill. But most importantly, we have not had the individuals that have the right skills and approach and know-how, a well-laid blueprint to achieve all the responsibilities. Out of my experience, out of my exposure as an economist, as a banker, and as a person who has exposure in the political corridors, the network, having friends in parliament, having individuals, in the executive, not necessarily siding with any side of the political divide, but rather having the know-how and exactly the definition and the vision of what needs to be done. I believe that is very important, because once we have that, we all know that there is no political faction, there is no individual that can stand up and oppose something like coming up with an amendment to, for example, KICD Act and Primary Education Act to include AI and digital skills and entrepreneurship, and propose things like one-year review to this, to the curriculum that we have, so that we bring in youths out of the schools that have the right skills, and also bridge the issue of youth employability and mismatch of the skills. So there's no one that I believe that can stand up against that. And these are things that if you are in the right place, the National Youth Council, you can advocate for this, you can stand up, you can send bills in parliament, and all these things can be done. It will eradicate most of the issues that we are having as a nation.
Okay.
Yes.
And of course, I still insist on this. What makes you think you will succeed where many have tried and failed?
I wouldn't say that many have tried, because clearly no one has had, the ability to stand up and propose all these things.
But we have had, we have what we call the affirmative action, for example. We have the current regime that is, according to their own means, they're really working hard to make sure that at least there is the issue of employability to the youths, trying to bridge the gap between now the employed and unemployed. So again, we are not reinventing the wheel, are we?
You're right. I believe that there has been effort, but one thing that you need to know is that the efforts are uncoordinated, okay? No one has the ownership of all this we are talking about, okay? For example, you will see the Affirmative Action Fund, you'll see the youth fund, you'll see the executive pulling from their side, you'll see the NGOs, okay? And that is the exact reason why we had the National Youth Council Act 2009, because we need coordinated approach. If it's holding KICD accountable for review of the curriculum every year, someone has to own up to that, you know. If it is making sure that the youth-owned enterprises, for example, one of the things that I would like to do is to have 1-year credit, tax credits for the youth-owned enterprises. Someone has to, to own up to that, you know, and make sure that this is something that is not only implementable, but also being implemented. Okay, for example, access to government procurement, which is now in the Public Procurement Act. No one is owning up, you know, to that and making sure that government institutions actually are implementing this. For example, in the government review report for last year, it shows that all the 395 institutions of the government did not meet the mandatory 30% procurement opportunities to the youth and the special interest groups. It is at 20%. Someone has to own up to this and make sure that these institutions, whether holding them accountable or changing the law so that it is it can be penalized, you know, someone has to own up to this. That is the key thing, because as it stands right now, no one is owning up to the issue of youth crisis and issues of the young people.
All right, because my director is literally screaming on my ears, time is not on our side. But just a quick one on this.
Yes.
Well, you have seen what has happened, 14 years without an election. By the grace of God, just like you say, I like the fact that you're a man of great faith. If you get elected, how will you make sure that this circle that we have witnessed 14 years without election, so how are you planning to tackle this? Because many people, and of course you'll be speaking for those probably who have lost faith in the National Youth Council. So how do you plan to restore the faith and of course make sure that the National Council works as it should be in terms of holding elections in due time, and of course its operation running according to the way it should be? So what are you planning? What's your plan on this?
All right, two things. About restoring the faith in the National Youth Council, it is simple. It is holding up to the 16 responsibilities of the National Youth Council. We talk about legislation, we talk about funding, we talk about a regulation of the youth sector. I believe that if, as National Youth Council, we stand up as the coordinated voice for the young peoples, if we stand up and actually hold institutions accountable for public procurement opportunities to the young people, I believe that is to a very big extent that is going to eradicate the issue of unemployment and all that. And once this is done and we have bills taken to Parliament for tax credits, I believe that the young people will be proud again that they have a National Youth Council that actually represents them. About making sure that something that has happened, that for another 14 years does not elapse before we actually have another election. One of the things that we have to do, including many others that we need to amend in the National Youth Council Act, is to make sure that it is not only suggestive. You know, the problem with our laws is that they are very suggestive. You can easily dodge them if you do not have the will. But we are going to enshrine it in the law that this elections have to be held in every 3 years, you know, and failure to that, there has to be consequences, including making sure that aspirants actually get remuneration. You know, National Youth Council is a state corporation like any other, like NCIC, but the council members and the branches of National Youth Council do not get a remuneration at all right now. So amongst that one, those are the many amendments that we're going to have, so that we have a structured way of approaching this that precedes even the government of the day and the individuals that are there right now.
All right.
Yes.
Well, asante sana for making time.
Thank you.
Brian Wambura, economist and youth leader, just giving us some insight of what to expect as far as the upcoming National Youth Council election is concerned. Of course, this is a very progressive discussion that we'll be having, and of course the discussion continues even after this very important discussion that we are having right here. Now, so up next is sports news. All right, now the second edition of the Association of National Olympic Committees of Africa, if they prefer the acronym ANOCA, Zone 5 Youth Games has officially kicked off at Kenyatta University, marking the start of the competition for more than 300 young athletes from 11 countries. The athletes will compete in 7 sporting disciplines, that is athletics, 3x3 basketball, beach volleyball, cycling, judo, swimming, and tennis. Speaking on behalf of Cabinet Secretary for Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, Salim Vuria, Sports Principal Secretary Elijah Mwangi said Kenya is committed to nurturing talents capable of competing on global stages.
The official launch of the second edition of the ANOCA Zone 5 Youth Games highlights the importance of nurturing the next generation of sporting stars in Africa and strengthening regional unity through sports.
The ANOCA Zone 5 Youth Games are much more than a sporting competition. They represent a celebration of youth, talent, friendship, unity, and excellence. These games also provide an important pathway for our young athletes to prepare for the highest level of international competition.
The competition brings together more than 300 young athletes from 11 countries: Burundi, Egypt, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Somalia, Sudan, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda. The athletes will compete in athletics, 3x3 basketball, beach volleyball, cycling, judo, swimming, and tennis. Speaking on behalf of the Cabinet Secretary for Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, Principal Secretary Elijah Mwangi highlighted Kenya's commitment to nurturing talent in the country.
Kenya remains committed to strengthening partnerships with our neighbors and with continental and international sporting organizations to advance the development of sports in Africa. We recognize that the challenges and opportunities facing African sport are shared. By working together, we can strengthen talent development system. We can improve sporting standards, expand opportunities for young people, and create stronger pathways for athletes to compete at the highest level.
The athletes have also been urged to use the opportunity to build their careers and gain valuable experience.
Compete fairly, because healthy competition gives you the discipline that you require to be the champion and to be the world beaters. We are doing this deliberately and intentionally to create you, and because from creating you, giving you the opportunities that you deserve as a region, is paving the way for clean competition to the global stage.
The games will run until August 28, with athletes seeking to gain experience and prepare for the Youth Olympic Games scheduled to take place in Dakar, Senegal from October 31st to 13th November later this year. Rajab Juma, KUTV.
Now let's talk matters football. Now the Kenya Police Bullets will return to action on Wednesday as they take on Burundi's top girls academy in the CAF Women's Champions League qualifiers that will be held in Kigali, Rwanda. The encounter is slated to kick off at exactly 4 p.m. East African time, with the Kenyan side hoping to build on their impressive start to the tournament. Police Bullets defeated Tanzania's Simba Queens 2-1 in their opening Group C match. Time is precious, so they say. And remember, I promised you in the next 1 hour or so, I have kept the promise. Now it's time now to pack and leave. Jamie Tava and I would like to wish you a very blessed night. And of course, thank you so much for always keeping us a company, and for the men behind the scene for always working hard to make sure we bring our viewers up to date with the latest information as far as matters politics, business and sports, everything in between. For now, do have a lovely night, and as always, God bless.